This episode is brought to you in part by the National Restaurant Association.
Welcome to On Foodable Insight series here at the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago. We are here for over 30 episodes of Foodable WebTV content coming straight to you from Chicago. On the stage with me today, I've got Rob Grimes, probably one of the tech gurus in the industry. Rob, welcome.
Thank you.
Rob, you know, in the Insight series, we talk about kind of the big movements that are happening in each aspect of the industry. Technology, of course, is one of the leading things that restaurants are faced today, as you know. You are probably one of the historical legends in our industry around tech. Built FS Tech from really the get-go, started the conference years and years ago, have merged it with NRA, have merged it with Nation's Restaurant News, a lot of different types of aspects. So there's a lot of changes going on, obviously. But when you look at technology in the space, where do you see the big challenges for today's restaurant operators?
So first of all, I appreciate all that history. Being 29 years old, I'm not exactly sure how you get all that history in there in a few short years,
You're
but
looking
anyway.
good for 29
Yeah,
too,
there
right?
you go. Very good. You know, technology is a very big area at play for the food service industry in general and for restaurants. The challenge in the past is that I think that a lot of technology suppliers, as well as operators for that matter, who were looking how do they make technology fit, and they were trying to find a place for it.
Right.
Today, I think what they're finding in the trends is that technology has a base. It's an enabler. It has a base behind every aspect of operation within a restaurant, within a food and beverage operation. So it's a different way of looking at it today. So the way things have changed is that the technology has come around, but the applications that are being used are being selected by the restaurateurs not for technology's sake, but because they're now at the base of everything that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are seeing that evolution move along. You know, we've got a couple of shows that talk about social and mobile and kind of this evolution of where everything's happening in the space. You know, it has been one of those things where that's kind of taken center stage around restaurants, but the reality is it's still a hardware business. You know, you still have to have equipment in the stores from point of sale, digital signage, all these different types of working ecosystems.
Yeah, but you know, there's a difference there. So I hear you. It's less of a hardware story today than it used to be. Even
Right.
when you look at the big suppliers that are out there, they're making a mind shift change from being hardware providers to being application providers. When you take a look, you just mentioned digital signage, for instance, or menu boards. When you look at the cost per square inch of using commercially available things that you might buy at any major consumer brand that will work now in an environment, that cost comes down. It's not a hardware mentality anymore.
Yeah.
When you take a look at the concept, a growing concept, not quite yet there yet, of bring your own device.
Right.
You know, there's going to be a time where we're asking our employees to bring their own devices. We already are actually when it comes to things like scheduling, that they pay for the application in order to be able to use it to do their own schedule. I find that amazing, by the way. But so we are actually moving from a hardware mentality into a software one because the hardware is just generic. It comes off, out of a consumer store.
And I think the iPad kind of set the stage for that. You know, its ability to work in so many different environments. Obviously, Android has really ramped up everything that's happening from a space.
Right.
And that's going to, I think, change the landscape again, especially in mobile and tablet computing, which will eventually move it into the restaurant space. So let's talk about some of the new technologies now. So you've got things like a product we have, which is called Venue Beacon, which is the Bluetooth Low Energy. You've got Coin, which is this new, loadable credit card to hold all your credit cards. How will that interfere with mobile payment down the road? You know, what's your thinking around these kind of edge products right now?
Yeah, so the
kind of
challenge,
a big
so
deal.
first of all, it's great to give an opinion on these. The broader question is fads versus trends and what's actually going to make it.
Yep.
Because restaurateurs have a very hard time distinguishing where they should put their investment money. And if you happen to be a franchisee, it becomes even worse. It becomes more of a challenge, not worse.
Yeah.
Because you have to convince, as a franchisor, you have to convince the franchisees to invest in the technologies.
Interesting.
So anything that is ubiquitous, that is cloud-based, that allows you to switch without having to change the hardware side of it is a good thing. So location-based technologies, very clearly a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, Apple has led the way in many ways to get people to think about smaller form factor tablets and screens. Are they going to be the winner in the restaurant environment? Probably not, because people are also looking at how it integrates with other types of things, plus what you can plug into it. But I don't rule them out. I just think that they've taught people what can be done. They lead the way on location-based technologies out there. Great. Okay, so it gets it out there, makes it consumer viable, and makes it then something that the restaurateur can invest in. So you take a look at things like any kind of mobile wallet, but you take a look at Coin, which I actually applied for one 6-7 months ago.
Right.
I took the disc because I want to see how it's going to work. I love the idea of singular cards, of being able to handle multiple cards, but actually, do I really love the idea of a card anyway?
Yeah.
Probably not. I probably am much more for, and so, by the way, that could be a disruption as to why that technology may work or it may not work. I actually am more in favor of any kind of digital wallet, digital card, long term, but I do recognize that we live in a society, we travel, that we have to have physical things as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's been the challenge, for me even, we were early adopters on all sorts of mobile payment and things of that nature. But I found even in my own habits, which is pretty, digitally forward, that I have found I've abandoned a lot of my mobile apps, even my Starbucks app. And it's so easy to use, but it just seems like
you abandoned your Starbucks app to do what?
Go right back to the card.
To go directly to the card.
To the card. So.
And why did you do that?
I felt like it was just too much trouble.
Let me interview you. So why'd you do that?
I thought it was too much trouble.
It was too much trouble to use the app.
Yeah, so I get into the app, and Starbucks is probably the best company out there. I mean, they've pretty much set the gold standard in terms of app integration with mobile payment. So I'm still questioning whether mobile payment truly is going to make it. There's a lot of companies that have been fighting it. It's kind of like online reservations when OpenTable started, 15 years ago, could not break in, and then finally it happened. So there's going to be a threshold. But if there are disruptors like Coin or other things like that, that's going to be a very interesting piece.
So the answer to the question, the same as the answer to the question of, how big a screen does somebody want? Do they want, a tablet this size? Do they want 7 or 8 inch? Do they want 10 inch? The answer to the question is yes. We have to provide the technology in any number of ways, but what's flowing behind the scenes is what's most important. If somebody wants to have a Starbucks card and a Starbucks app, and then they want to have some other app and some other app and have to go to individual apps, great. Do I think that Coin is a good idea to store it all on one card? Yes, but you're still going to have to specify what card it is that you want to come up, right?
Yep.
So why are we not also looking to the digital coin, if you want to look at it that way, which now goes to mobile payment, and say that we're going to have a consolidator, like I use a program called Keychain to keep all my frequent cards, but I have to actually photo the cards. I mean, it's really sort of dumb if you think about it. But why aren't we just going to have the digital coin that has it, and you just choose it that way off your phone? We will.
Yeah.
We're going to have both. You're going to have both.
Well, I think this is an example of our Insight series. It's a lot of hard questions that are being asked in the industry. Operators are really kind of struggling at trying to figure out really what is the answer to the next level.
Right.
And there's so many options right now, so it's still, the cards have not yet been completely played.
Right, but you see, you can't look at any of these technologies in a silo.
Right.
They all have to tie together. So you asked the question about Beacon. You're talking about location-based technologies. You're talking about identifying somebody when they come in the door. Facebook has tried this. Google has certainly tried this. Foursquare has certainly tried this. To the point of potential data privacy, invasion of privacy issues of walking in the door, recognizing who you are, telling somebody.
Yeah.
You have to opt in, right? Well, the location-based marketing and the concept of being able to take a look at somebody's MAC address and identifying when their phone or device is within some sort of proximity, and then identifying that person not by name but by their device. I believe that that's actually going to be the way that it goes.
It will be.
So that,
I agree.
So we don't have a specific connection unless you want it. Now, are consumers going to go ahead and opt in? Yeah, they will if you offer. They give away
something big enough.
They give away a ton of information if they feel they're getting some sort of benefit for it. I've always said, do they want you to give them preferences and do things for them? Absolutely. Do they want you to know? Do they want to know that you have all the information? No, they don't. But yet they want you to use the information.
Yeah.
So I think that any technology that is location-based, that can identify you without identifying you specifically,
Exactly.
unless you opt in,
More anonymized.
is
Yeah.
going to be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. We
And it
agree.
ties into payment, because
Yep.
now if you have that and you have the payment, why do I even have to choose a card to begin with?
And or social, because then you
Absolutely.
can track it back to an ad click, and now you've got ROI all the way through, closed loop. It's
That's right.
really, yeah, it's huge. Listen, a lot of fun. I hope you have a great show. Thanks for stopping in on this episode of On Foodable. Catch us on our next episode right here at the National Restaurant Show in Chicago.